Hey guys, how's it going? It's Calvin Raab, and a special welcome to all my finance majors out there. As an economics major, I consider you guys a close cousin to us, so I feel somewhat of a connection there. But in this video, I'm going to go over 10 of the highest paying jobs for finance majors. I just did a bunch of research on the jobs that you can get, the salary that comes along with that, and then I sorted by highest salary. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to go from 10 to 1. I'm going to go over what the job is, a little bit about what you would do with that job, and then the salary. And I am going to go from least or kind of lowest paying to highest paying. Number 1 is going to be the highest paying. But I don't want you to skip to that number 1 because there may be something in here that piques your interest. Remember that salary is not the most important thing. So I'm hoping that somewhere in here you'll find something and say, oh, that's interesting. And you may look a little bit more into that. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with number 10, and let's hopefully find you a high-paying job that you can use with your finance major. Let's get into it. Number 10 is a private equity analyst, and what this person will do is they will analyze private companies, seeing if they want to invest in them. So they'll usually be running a specific portfolio. So they'll have a private fund that is open to limited partners. Remember, private equity is dealing with private companies, so these aren't publicly traded companies. So this isn't an open fund that anyone can invest in. There are limited partners invested in this private fund. And the analyst will go and look for, like you would really a normal stock or even a public company if you were just an investment analyst. And you're looking at, what is the cash flow of this business? What are future projections? Is this something that is going to grow and we want to invest in? And you are the analyst that is going to look over all these things and decide if you want to add it to the portfolio. So that's what this person will do. It is a very high-paying job, as it says they're making around $81,000 every single year on average. So maybe this is something I want to look into. It is a field that you would certainly be able to use your finance degree with and make a good amount of money with. Coming in at number 9 is a commercial real estate agent. Now, you've probably heard of real estate agent, but commercial real estate agent is a little bit different. So rather than dealing with single-family houses and single-family residents, you are now dealing with businesses. So whenever I think of commercial real estate, usually the first thing that I think of are going to be office buildings. And as an agent, you will be in charge of finding the best office buildings. Usually, your clients now will be businesses, and you're going to be, of course, either selling them or just finding places so that businesses can go. So this involves a lot more research into the market usually than a normal real estate agent would. Although I do know real estate agents care about this information as well. But what you're going to be looking at is you're going to be looking at a lot of data from the local area. Where's the best place to have this business go, or the best shopping center possible? Where's the best place that you could put this specific business, and where are its customers? How will they find them? And you'll look at not only local data but national data, seeing where their ideal customers are, how can you get in front of them, and it's just a lot more data that's involved. And that's where you kind of use your financial degree, because you've likely taken a lot of statistics courses and just financial modeling courses in general. So there's a lot of data here that needs to be broken down, and as a commercial real estate agent, you are going to look over all that and decide what are the best commercial buildings for a particular business. Or you may be selling a commercial building and you'll be explaining, why it's a good idea for them to buy in. And here you now have to convince a business that it is going to help their bottom line. You're not convincing a family of why they should fall in love with a home. So little different there. They're both very important, but it is a important job that is out there because business has got to go somewhere. Number 8 is an investment banking analyst. Now, this is going to be somewhat similar to the private equity analyst, a little bit different in that now you'll likely be working for an investment bank and you will have clients, and you'll have to know what their goals are. What are their financial goals? How risky do they want to be? What's the kind of return that they are expecting? And you take that information and then you go out and you analyze different investments, seeing what would be best to put together in a portfolio for this particular customer, if you're building a particular fund or something along that. So now you use those same analyzing kind of techniques and tools and just analyst mindset that the private equity analyst would also use, except now you're usually going to be scouring public companies and different things like that. So investment banking is a very popular field, of course, for finance majors, also for economics majors. A lot of econ people go to investment banking, but it is also quite high paying as well. So maybe this is something that you want to look into. Coming in at number 7 is a sales and trading analyst. Now, I think of this as almost like two different jobs, but it can be done by the same person as well. So from the sales point of view, you'll likely be calling institutional investors or just companies and entities that pool money to invest in things. So as the sales side of things, you'll be calling them with different investment ideas or maybe opportunities that you see. And then on the flip side of that, the trading side of this job is when you will be actively trading, buying and selling different investments. Maybe you will have clients that you'll be working with, trying to find the perfect times to enter this specific stock, this particular investment, and then of course exit strategies as well. So this is kind of the full-scale job, meaning you're seeing both the sales side and the trading side. And for that, you can see that for a lot of hedge funds and investment banks, this is unbelievably important, because this is, I saw the quote somewhere, this is the lifeblood of that specific company. So this may be something that you want to look into, and it's unbelievably important. And as you can see, that's why they are making a pretty good amount of money, at least on average nationally. About around over $89,000 was that average salary. So very important, and you do a lot of good work as well. Coming in at number 6 is a quantitative risk analyst, and this person's going to be making over $93,000 every single year. So what a quantitative risk analyst will be doing is they are going to be using usually mathematical or complex models in order to analyze the risk of a certain decision, or usually a financial decision or something like that. So they'll be taking a lot of data and turning it into something that can be interpreted, and also using models to assess the risk that a certain company would be taking on, or they may be talking about the risk of a particular investment that the customer would be taking on. So here the whole idea is you'll be looking at a particular investment or a particular decision and deciding how risky that's going to be. There's also the flip side, where you will be creating systems that you can analyze certain investments and different decisions by. So when it comes to any big financial institution, whether it be hedge funds or a big bank, they need to know how risky something's going to be. And usually they want it to be pretty accurate, because there's usually a lot of money at stake. So quantitative risk analysts will go through, create these systems, usually involves a lot of math. And they'll be able to assess the risk and just build systems to help them assess different, and also not only assess decisions, but also make decisions in the future. So this is also just called a quant sometimes. If someone refers to a certain job as a quant, they're usually referring to a quantitative risk analyst. So if this is anything you're interested in, then this may be something you want to look into. Coming in at number 5 is an actuary, and it's funny that it's right after the quantitative risk analysis, because this one is also involving risk. So what an actuary does is their job is to assess the financial damage or financial ongoings of a certain risk. So usually where this goes on is with insurance companies, because what are insurance companies? Well, they are insuring different scenarios. So whether it be car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, or anything like that, these insurance agencies need to know what is the risk of this happening, and how much damage is that going to cost financially. So, for something along the lines of if you got like fire or flood insurance or anything like that, how often do houses flood? And generally what happens, how much damage financially will that cost us from an insurance point of view? And they need these actuaries, they need this data, because they need to accurately price their insurance models. So if you ever see prices for insurance and how much it costs, know that there are a team of actuaries behind it. So much research has gone into assessing that cost, and not only do you need to cover that financial cost, but you also need the company to make money. And actuaries are very, very important with companies that deal specifically with risk, and that's why they are so important to places like insurance companies that are in the business of risk. Coming in at number 4 is a controller with an average salary of just under $100,000. So I'm somewhat familiar with controllers because I had an accounting internship, and within that internship I was having to speak with different controllers of different companies and talking to their accounting team. So that's kind of how I know what they do. But as far as a general overview of what they do, a controller is someone who is in charge of all things accounting when it comes to a specific company. So that is from basic, just general ledger stuff, making sure everything gets recorded properly. Of course, when tax season rolls around or if they're getting audited, controllers just making sure that everything runs smoothly. And it is a pretty stressful position because the accounting of a company is so important. It is the language of finance, as they always say in accounting classes and different things like that. But it's so important that all of that is accurate. Of course, when auditing comes around, and you need to make sure that everything is being recorded properly, and accounting is just an important backbone to the finances of a company. And the controller is someone who needs to know all of it and looks it over and makes sure everything is, of course, being done properly and up to code. Coming in at number 3 is a hedge fund manager with an average salary of just over $103,000. Now, of course, as you probably know, this isn't a job that you were just going to walk right into, most likely out of college. If you do, congrats, that's pretty impressive. But this is usually something that you would work towards, but it is something that a finance student can work towards and can become. So what a hedge fund manager does is, it really is in the name, but you are managing a specific hedge fund. And what a hedge fund is it's just a investment portfolio usually that is open to a few accredited investors. This isn't usually something that is open to the public, of course, with a few exclusions to that rule, but for the most part you'll be working with accredited investors and you'll be making different decisions, and your whole goal here is to get the highest return possible, and really the goal is just to beat the market, and the market being the S&P 500. But you'll be in charge of finding the different assets, making that portfolio, and this doesn't just pertain to stocks. Hedge funds, I know it from having an interest in real estate, that a lot of hedge funds are getting involved with different real estate investments, and different hedge funds do different things. So you will be managing that fund, and there will be a lot of pressure on you because you oftentimes will be dealing not only with a lot of money, but you will dealing with wealthy individuals who want to make a good return on their money. So $103,000 was the salary that I said there. Of course, some of the wealthiest people within the finance world are hedge fund managers, so you can make a whole lot here. If you just look at some of the more famous hedge fund managers out there, they are making an insane amount of money, but it does come with its certain share of stress and pressure. But if this is something that you're interested in, and if you are a finance major, I'm gonna guess you're interested in finance. That's usually how it works. This may be something that you want to look into, and it is a rewarding job, and it is a true finance position. So this may be something that you want to look into. Number 2, and if I look a little different, if my hair looks a little different, that's because when I first filmed this video, I actually forgot to mention number 2. I completely skipped it over. So now we're going back, and I'm now going to talk about number 2. So number 2 is a cash management manager, and they're going to be making about $106,000 base average salary. Now, what a cash management manager is going to do is kind of what it says. You are managing the cash inside a company, meaning you are worried about just current status of all the money, the cash on hand. You're not thinking about long-term investments and kind of future financial goals of the company, but you're looking at it right now, dealing with, what are the bills we have to pay? Do we have all the accounts set up? If there are multiple bank accounts, you'll have to know the status of each of them. Let's make sure this gets paid through this account, make sure payroll goes through here, especially if it's an international company. It can be a little bit more of a challenge having different bank accounts for different countries, but there's a lot that is going to go into this job, and you are just making sure that all the money runs smoothly. All payments go through, maybe you're getting refunds or something like that, and you are just in charge of the money that the company has on hand right now. And because of that, you can probably imagine it is a very important position, so that is why it is high paying as well. Coming in at number 1 is a financial manager making over $127,000 per year. Now, again, I've said this before, but what they do is also in the name. But what a financial manager will be doing is managing really all things finance when it comes to a specific organization. So they'll be in charge of the investments that that company is investing in. They will also be in charge of some of the expenditures and making sure that what they're buying is going to give them a decent return, or it at least makes sense in the realm of a certain finance or a certain company's finances. So they're just in charge of all things finances. You know, they'll be overlooking some of the accounting, they'll be overlooking some of the financial analysts and investment analysts and different people like that. They are, when it comes to finance, they are the top dog. They are the person that you would go to learn about the company's finances. And they're not only just kind of that managerial position, they also will work with higher ups in the company. You know, oftentimes they'll be pretty close, oftentimes to even the CEO and different people like that, to come up with different plans and strategies, because they are going to be looking in the long term usually and seeing what can we do from a finance perspective that would help this company reach its goals. So it's a very important job. You know, it kind of guides the finances and pushes it along towards the company's end goal. So this may be something that you want to look into. Again, it is a manager position that is usually, at least as an undergrad, can't usually walk into that. So this may be somewhat down the line. It can be a goal of yours to become a financial manager, but they are open to finance majors. And it, of course, is in your wheelhouse of understanding. And this may be something that you want to look into. You know, this takes the finance side of it. You also will want to have you'll want to be a good leader and a manager, and different things are going to play a role for this job, but it is very high paying and it is very important. Those two kind of go hand in hand, as we've seen throughout here. But that is number 1, and I hope at least one of these you're interested in. Okay, so that will wrap it up. Those are 10 different high-paying jobs that I saw for finance majors, and I'm sure I missed some. You know, there are so many jobs that finance majors can get. I know that because as an economics major, I also have a lot of friends that are in finance, and they've gotten a whole bunch of different jobs, and a lot of them are high-paying. So if there's one that I missed, I would love it if you let me know in the comments below. Just let me know, you know, what is another job, because I'm sure there are so many more, and you guys probably know a whole lot of jobs that I am not even aware of. So just let me know down there. And other than that, just let me know of any general comments, or if you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know also in the comments below. And whenever I do make videos like this, I always do have to say that, you know, use that salary just as a ballpark. You know, it's hard because I was looking at the salary of what it would be here in Los Angeles, and I saw that the salary is a whole lot more, and sometimes in some cases it was even double what I was saying here. So look locally, or wherever you are, wherever you want to work, what the salary is there, and you'll get a better idea and kind of an understanding of what the salary would be for you. There are also other things like benefits and different things to keep into consideration, but for the most part, these are going to be some of the higher paying jobs for finance majors. So that will round it out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I hope you're enjoying finance. It's an amazing major to be, and I actually considered being a finance major for a little bit before I ended up choosing economics, but I just hope you're enjoying it and just have fun. So thank you so much for watching. That will wrap it up. As always, my name is Calvin Raab, and I'll see you soon. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. So I'm gonna move to the corner of your screen here. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you are gonna see my most recent video. And if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you're going to see a video that YouTube and I each think that you would like. And if you haven't yet, you can hit my face right here and subscribe. As always, my name is Calvin Raab, and I'll see you soon.